Welcome to Special Investigations. Today's episode, Millenary Cities, hosted by Jaime Maussan.
According to legend, Teotihuacan is the city where men become gods. It is an enigma where its first builders came from and why they chose this place to settle. After 100 years of exploration and research, the questions remain. There is no physical evidence of its creators, and there are no data or documents that indicate who built the best-planned city in Mesoamerica. Before Columbus arrived in the New World, the Aztecs reigned as the last great culture before the Spanish conquest. As they venture south, they make a stunning discovery: giant pyramids, the remains of an enormous ancient city, completely abandoned, a ghost town. The Aztecs were certain only the gods could have built this place. They called it Teotihuacan, the city of the gods. Hundreds of years later, the Aztecs' question remains unanswered. Who built this magnificent city? There are only legends rooted in the past, dating back 2,000 years that explains what happened, which have been slowly disappearing. But the research continues. Scientists around the world have been given the task of finding the origin of the extraordinary city of Teotihuacan, the so-called Great City of the Gods. Behind me is the Pyramid of the Moon, located at the end of the so-called Road of the Dead. It is not known why it was called this way. Perhaps for here those that were going to be sacrificed transited. It is located at the end of the union of the three main pyramids that together, apparently, would be marking the same position of the constellation of Orion.
There is an astronomical relationship between Teotihuacan and the stars that is the reason why the Pyramid of the Sun is oriented towards the west. Precisely on certain dates in August and October, the sun rises just behind and hides in front of the pyramid. In other words, there is a solar relationship, as in many other Mesoamerican cities, and surely that was taken into consideration when planning the Road of the Dead because of its peculiar orientation and crossroads. Archaeologists have tried to find the meaning in each of the investigations carried out for over 100 years. It is a perfect grid in which all the architectural complexes were built. That is to say that nobody in Teotihuacan built at random. First, the streets were laid out, then the drainage system, taking in consideration where the water supply was going to come from, and then the houses were built. This shows that minds were thinking that we're designing up to where the city was going to grow, according to the resources that existed at the time. Even today, we continue using all its drainage systems, and the city does not flood.
The ancient city of Teotihuacan, a mythical ghost town, still holds many secrets. Scientists have very few clues about its origins. Still, the legends left behind by the Aztecs, the last empire of the Americas, offer a detailed explanation, shedding light on this mysterious city.
The Aztec Genesis, awe-inspiring in its narration, unveils a legend that delves into the origin of the sacred city of Teotihuacan. It unfolds the story of the giant pyramids, erected in honor of the sun and the moon, and the plumed serpent, a mythical figure 2 millennia ago. The rich tapestry of legends, traditions, and cultural heritage of the Aztecs was preserved for future generations by the pen of Spanish friar Geronimo de Mendieta. As the official chronicler of the last empire of the Americas, after the Spanish conquest in the 16th century, his task was to listen to and write their narratives and legends. De Mendieta narrates that the Aztecs came from further north, from a place called Aztlan, located in the region called Chichen, which according to legend, included an enormous cave with 7 caverns, and in each of these caverns, a different tribe lived. The legend speaks of an enormous dagger descending from the sky, impacting the planet with tremors and earthquakes. A giant dagger made of stone, from which 1,600 gods descended. These gods, the legend tells, were the ones that built Teotihuacan, and their divine intervention made it possible for the Aztecs to form a vast empire. The gods mentioned in the Genesis reached out to all 7 tribes living in the caverns, one of which was the Aztecs. Mendieta explained that all 7 tribes were taking shelter from a giant flood sent by the last sun god. The gods invited them out, offering a chance to emerge to a new life, a new time, and assuring them that it was time to populate the world with a prosperous future. The offer included becoming the children of the new sun god, the 5th sun, according to the legend. The Aztec chronicler narrates that the buildings, pyramids, and roads built by the newly arrived gods were for the tribes to enjoy after they were rescued from the caves. Eventually, some of the tribes left the region, together with some of the gods, but others remained and helped the Aztecs settle in the city. The Genesis mentions that the Aztecs became an enormous empire, and even though they built cities and pyramids of their own, they understood that Teotihuacan was a city forged by gods, and that's why they called it the City of the Gods.
This is the Pyramid of the Sun, a name chosen by the Aztecs when they discovered the ghost city in ruins near the center of the country, and not far from their main city, Tenochtitlan, which is now Mexico City. The pyramid, a monumental structure on the opposite side of the Boulevard of the Dead, is a tribute to the God King, a term used to honor the sun. The God King was a ruler believed to have divine powers, a symbol of life and energy. This pyramid, one of the largest in the world, is not just a physical marvel, it is the main symbol of this city, meticulously aligned to witness celestial events, such as the equinox of spring and autumn, a testament to its ancient builders' advanced knowledge and skills. This unique feat of ancient engineering is distinct from the rest of the structures at Teotihuacan, which were built over centuries. The Pyramid of the Sun was erected in a single moment, without any superimpositions, further enhancing its enigmatic allure. The giant pyramid is on top of an ancient tunnel, designed into 4 areas, possibly 4 elements and 4 divinities. A millenary tunnel that continues to baffle archaeologists and historians, fueling the fascination and debate about the city of the gods.
This is yet another of the enigmas that we face in Teotihuacan. The absence of burials of royal personages, rulers, or priests is quite astonishing. They have yet to be unearthed. This mystery engages us and fuels our curiosity, driving us to uncover the truth we eagerly anticipate. Though not rulers, these individuals were sacrificed with offerings of immense significance. They were prisoners, their hands bound, wearing necklaces of human jaws. These were not ordinary sacrifices, but they were not the rulers, as we had anticipated. Despite their non-royal status, their sacrifices were of immense significance, which adds a profound layer to our understanding of Teotihuacan. Anything found beneath it must have been of utmost importance and sacredness. This is a spectacular journey into a mysterious world built beneath the first megacity in the Americas. We're confident that scientists will undoubtedly unearth the answers that will explain the origins of an entire civilization.
The Pyramid of the Feathered Serpent, also known as the Temple of Quetzalcoatl, is a marvel located inside the citadel, and it is the 3rd largest pyramid in the city. What sets it apart are the abundant stone reliefs and 3-dimensional sculptures that once adorned all its sides, a unique feature that has captivated historians and archaeologists alike. Beneath the stone masses, a rich tapestry of history is buried. Up to 3 previous cities, one built on top of the other, each erected on the violated remains of the previous one, waiting to be unearthed. The layers of history beneath the surface of Teotihuacan are a captivating mystery waiting to be unraveled. What we see on the surface is the countless reconstructions and the monument's survival. In a groundbreaking discovery, Mexican archaeologists unearthed a widespread tunnel that originates beneath the Pyramid of the Moon and directly links to the temple of the feathered serpent. This discovery opens up a new chapter in our understanding of Teotihuacan's complex history.
We excavated in the plaza of the citadel, and we found the original temples. There was obviously a change of mind on the part of the builders of Teotihuacan. They decided to destroy an already erected part of the city and replace it with new buildings to build the mega complex of the citadel, but this time dedicated to the feathered serpent and the monster of the earth, or Sipical, as they called it. The change in direction might have happened because of the new arrivals coming to Teotihuacan because of catastrophes elsewhere. The eruption of Popocatépetl volcano in the mid to late 1st century, which volcanologists described as a catastrophe of epic proportions. After the volcanic eruption, the sky was darkened for extended periods. The sooting or blackening of the sky because of the volcanic ash would have affected sunlight and agriculture. This would have seemed like an apocalyptic scenario to people living around the volcano. The human toll and the magnitude of this eruption would have been devastating. People were probably thinking that the gods had turned against them. Settlements were destroyed, livestock died out. The very air and soil became toxic from volcanic fallout. The people were forced to move north as fast as they could. They found refuge in a valley and settled in Teotihuacan.
According to legends from Aztecs and other empires, the work of Quetzalcoatl, or Kukulkan, was known throughout Mesoamerica. Ancient narratives speak of a plumed serpent god bringing civilization to Earth. The Aztec manuscripts depict him as a fiery comet serpent or dragon-like creature descending from the stars, a symbol of his divine origin and celestial power. His name echoed with profound knowledge of heaven and earth, and the oral narrative of the Aztecs credited the plumed god with urbanization, engineering, mathematical, and astronomical developments. According to the book History of the New Spain by Spanish Friar Bernardino Sahagún, Quetzalcoatl was a male god who lived among the natives of the ancient lands, who wore feathers on his head, embroidered clothes, wore a necklace of snails and sandals, and lived in a temple of stone with stairways. He was a very tall man with ugly features and a long head. And under his reign, abundance and prosperity reigned. The corn was abundant and food overflowed the tables. He was credited as the one who originated all the arts, a testament to his leadership and the benefits it brought, an immortal whose benevolent image invited men to worship him with gratitude.
The serpent god represented the deity that controlled the world. Quetzalcoatl created this world and was also related to the power that controlled the universe, the people, and the societies. The serpent always carried mythological power, but the temple of Quetzalcoatl is the first to manifest in a large scale. The feathered serpent we know from Aztec times was copied by the Mayas since the pre-classic period. There are serpents throughout, but not necessarily feathered serpents. The feathered serpent was born here, in central Mexico. The feathered serpent temple in Teotihuacan is a unique marvel, the first of its kind. Never before had such a large temple been dedicated solely to the feathered serpent, nor had there been such a vibrant worship of this god. The pyramidal structure, possibly adorned with 260 feathered serpent heads, a significant number in the 260-day ritual calendar of Teotihuacan, was a sight to behold with its bright paint and intricately carved heads. The feathered serpent was not just a guardian, but also a central figure in Teotihuacan society. The Temple of the Feathered Serpent, located at the heart of this vast metropolis, symbolized its importance. Teotihuacan, one of the largest cities in the ancient world, sprawled across 20 square kilometers and boasted a population of over 100,000. The Serpent's Temple was so crucial that it was enclosed by a citadel of walls over 7 meters high and had only a single entrance, making it easy to defend. Teotihuacan was prone to drought, and when people get hungry and thirsty, they can get desperate. The only course of action for the rulers was to sacrifice citizens. This led to a major uprising. Evidence suggests that the people attacked the serpent's lair. Effigies were ripped off the temple and smashed, evidence of a violent rebellion, and probably the end of the feathered serpent of Teotihuacan. The feathered serpent continued to thrive elsewhere. Images of Mesoamerican cultures, all founded after Teotihuacan, like Chichen Itza, Xochicalco, and the great temple of the Aztecs in Tenochtitlan, have the feathered serpent as the main deity. However, Venus plays a significant role in the popular Aztec myth of Quetzalcoatl. In the 16th century, Venus was believed to have possessed a comet-like tail, and its orbit brought the planet into a celestial confrontation with Earth.
According to Aztec legends, Quetzalcoatl's death was not just a mere event, but a dramatic transformation. Like a great spark or ember, his soul ascended into the sky, leaving a streaming tail reminiscent of a quetzal bird. Ancient artists often drew comets with quetzal bird tails and bright and luminous plumes that provided a particularly well-suited hieroglyph for the serpent god. The transformation of Quetzalcoatl, or Kukulkan's soul, into the planet Venus meant nothing less than the end of one world age and the beginning of another. The serpent god, the creator of everything and ruler of Teotihuacan, gave its inhabitants the astronomical calendars and the secrets inner workings of the solar system, reflected in the strategic positioning of the different pyramids and buildings within the city.
Imagine for a moment that the city was precisely aligned along north-south axes, implying perpendicularity along east and west. One might assume that the Pyramid of the Sun is oriented toward the equinox, but the reality is far more intriguing. This plot of perpendicular lines between them is rotated, which means that Teotihuacan is rotated more or less 15 degrees and a half, which is in the sense of the movement of the hands of the clock. This causes the Pyramid of the Sun not to be aligned on the day of the equinox, but on two dates that astronomically do not indicate anything peculiar: April 29th and August 13. However, these are dates that appear not only in Teotihuacan, but in cultures of all Mesoamerica during several millennia. It was observed that across many great cultures, the position of the Sun reappears exactly every 365 days. This regularity formed the basis of the solar count, organized into 18 periods of 20 days. This consistency with 1820s, making 360 days and the addition of 5 days to reach the Sun, demonstrates the orderly nature of time, governed by the Sun, the brightest object in the sky. From then on, you had to wait 52 years for the cycle to start all over again. In other words, every 52 years, the cultures of Mesoamerica would celebrate great ceremonies called the New Fire and start all over again.
In 1976, the American engineer Hugh Harleston, a mathematician and geodesist, accumulated the eminent figure of 1 million measurements, specific to the monuments of ancestral Teotihuacan. His work was arduous for 30 years, and his conclusions were more than extraordinary. He found the entire city, in its visible composition, was an astronomical calendar, but not only of the Earth, but of the entire solar system. Every movement and structure of the system was reflected in the dimensions of Teotihuacan. The work of Harleston supported that the creators of the city, whether they were gods or men, knew the entire solar system in detail. The monuments were implicit references of this vast knowledge. Harleston's measurements went so far that he discovered the unit of measurement in which the city was laid out. The standard Teotihuacan unit is equivalent to 1.059 meters. Harleston found that the orientation of the great city of Teotihuacan is set towards the constellation of the Pleiades.
About 30 years ago, Anthony Aveni proposed that Teotihuacan was oriented towards the constellation of the Pleiades. However, because the night sky changes relatively fast, with the Earth rotating like a spinning top, the Pleiades change orientation for every century. Imagine standing 2,000 years ago, gazing along the east-west axis of Teotihuacan at the precise time of year when the Pleiades would have been seen setting over the mountains. This alignment was not a mere coincidence. The city was deliberately aligned with this star group that passed directly overhead in the latitude of Teotihuacan, signaling the essential fifth cardinal direction. Furthermore, after being obscured by the sun's glare for 40 days, the reappearance of this star group in the east coincided with the day the sun passed the zenith. This meticulous planning and execution of the city's alignment, a feat that required an extraordinary level of precision and a deep understanding of astronomy, is a testament to the intelligence and foresight of the ancient Teotihuacanos.
The citadel, a place of immense significance in Teotihuacan, surrounds the temple of the plumed serpent god. It is here where hundreds of sites containing human remains have been unearthed, perhaps the victims of ancient human sacrifices. Also, in 2003, a tunnel of immense archaeological importance was uncovered by Mexican archaeologist Sergio Gomez, which stretches for more than 300 feet. Thousands of objects have been unearthed, providing an insight into their perspective of the underworld. It is believed that only the privileged, such as the great priests, had access to this underground world, and it was assumed that the tunnel would reveal the remains of the leaders and builders of Teotihuacan. However, after 2 decades, they are yet to be discovered. Only the remains of warriors, captured enslaved people, and even citizens were found, increasing the mystery of the city of the gods.
The confirmation of the past decades confirms a hollow underneath for the 3 main pyramids in the city, adding to the importance and sacredness that the builders of Teotihuacan assigned to the underworld. This connection with the subsoil gave these buildings their precise level of sacredness, with most of the monumental buildings in the city including this complementary element of important symbolism, which was later adopted in the construction of other Mesoamerican cities. This necessity forms a convincing pattern. A grand pyramid cannot exist without an underworld built under it in Teotihuacan.
In 1984, the Central Intelligence Agency of the United States discovered a very suggestive clue about a possible connection between Mars and Earth. After a study of the use of human beings with psychic abilities, demonstrated under arduous hypnotic regression tests, the CIA conformed a detailed report that remained classified as super secret for 40 years. In 2017, the study was declassified, becoming a public consultation document. The report mentions that, on May 22, 1984, the psychic exploration of the planet Mars by an anonymous subject. This person stated that he arrived telepathically at a desert site where very tall and ancient buildings were constructed, which reminded him of pyramids and obelisks back on Earth. The anonymous subject explained that he had a connection with the beings on the Red Planet, who told him that they were dying and that their lives were in danger. According to the source, the beings mentioned their planet was destroyed when a comet impacted its surface. The report mentions that they lived underground, especially when sandstorms attacked violently, and they took refuge in galleries built inside the pyramids.
There does not seem to be anybody in control of the process that's going on right now. This is activists. This is people like you getting the word out. It's people like me. There are a very small number of people who are credible, who've told me things that cause me to think there's a possibility that something like that exists. What I believe is the public deserves to know, and they deserve the facts. And that's what this is about, is trying to bring out the facts and the truth. And I think that's something that people of good faith on both sides can agree to.
In 1972, the North American orbiters Mariner 9, Viking 1 and Viking 2 captured geological anomalies on the red planet in the Elysium Quadrangle. This unexpected discovery sparked curiosity and intrigue in the scientific community. These anomalies were reported in the scientific journal Icarus of the same year. The article mentions that pyramidal and triangular structures were found on the surface of Mars. This article went unnoticed until years later, when astronomer Carl Sagan from Cornell University commented that the images taken by the probes show that the enormous pyramidal structures, with 2 miles at the base and up to a mile high, were much larger than the ones in Egypt or Mexico. The 4 pyramidal structures referred to by Sagan presented an alignment pattern very similar to that of terrestrial pyramids. The evidence continued to emerge to the surprise of the greatest scientists of that time. In 1976, in the region known as Cydonia, the module of the Viking orbiting probe identified new anomalous structures. They were analyzed by astronomy professor Tobias Owen of the University of Hawaii. Owen mentioned the landscape was about the size of London, and it was too clever to be the product of a random process. Owen suggested that the Mars anomalies might have been magnificent monuments in ruins on the surface of the red planet. To his surprise, it was quite a coincidence that the extension of 30 miles corresponded to those of the ancient city of Teotihuacan.
A donde quiera que se mire en Teotihuacán,
everywhere you look in the city of the gods, we detect an impatient insistence, an obsession with red. What led the ancient Teotihuacans to cover the entire city in an artificially red hue? The origin of the city's red obsession may lie in the mysterious death disk. This archaeological effigy, carved in andesite, depicts a fleshless skull painted entirely in rust red, the sacred color of Teotihuacan. The death disk is a unique archaeological find. Discovered buried and broken near the Pyramid of the Sun, it bears missing pieces that were never recovered. Studies indicate it was crafted around the year 400, yet its style and material differ from other Teotihuacan sculptures of the time. Specialists argue that this disc was manufactured by the Aztec civilization since it has characteristic symbology of this people, such as the tongue and the folded glow. However, ancient Aztec legend speaks of a foreign character that came from the sky, which translates as the great red star that shines. The legend mentions that a red star full of life shone in the sky, illuminating the earth, which a powerful sun took away its face and left it like this, fleshless but still shining.
El disco de la muerte teotihuacano.
After an extensive study of a possible Mars impact, a significant event where an asteroid or comet collided with the red planet, resulting in a 2-mile detachment from its surface, the Teotihuacan death disk emerges as a compelling potential symbolic representation of this catastrophic event. This interpretation, born from unique and specific research findings, offers a unique and intriguing viewpoint on Teotihuacan's ancient interpretation of planetary impacts. This obsession with death led the original builders of the great city to retrieve and transport tons of highly toxic materials from the Sierra Gorda, a place where the volcanic rock cinnabar, or mercury sulfide, and quicksilver abound. These toxic minerals were used in Teotihuacan to complete the different chambers under the pyramids in the great city, from floor to ceiling. The sacrifice and dedication involved in this process, from the extraction of the material to its application, are truly admirable. It's important to note that this aesthetic detail claimed the lives of thousands of citizens, underscoring the ancient civilization's unwavering commitment and respect for their art. Teotihuacan was a city of vibrant colors. It was full of spectacular murals, covered in white stucco and pigments from different parts of Mexico. The city must have been magnificent. Colors adorned the significant buildings, adding to the fascination of this ancient civilization. These vibrant pigments used in specific architectural or artistic elements significantly transformed the city's aesthetics. The famous murals depict beautiful paradises, In these works, the nostalgia of other times was plastered in depictions of sacred animals, atmospheres, and happy people. The citizens of Teotihuacan sang, recited poetry, exercised, and had fun, enjoying a world adorned with vibrant colors.
Teotihuacan, the city of the gods, collapsed around 650 AD. Its natural inhabitants, more than 125,000 people, disappeared without a trace. Researchers have unearthed evidence of a catastrophic fire that consumed Teotihuacan in a single night. The origin of this fire, which reached temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees, capable of melting rock, remains a puzzle. This enigmatic event, shrouded in mystery, intrigues and challenges the most astute minds in archaeology. The traces of this unprecedented inferno that engulfed various sectors of the city indicate that Teotihuacan faced a violent fall, an accurate attack that disintegrated its society. The scale of destruction, comparable to a volcanic phenomenon which left behind a city in ruins, is genuinely astonishing. The intense fire left marks on strategic sites in the city, a testament to the calculated nature of the attack. The secret of the end of the most fantastic city of Mesoamerica, the cradle of knowledge and power and home of the plumed serpent god, is still hidden under the ashes. Our journey led us to Cusco, a city shrouded in ancient mysteries. It was built upon the enigmatic remains of the Inca city known as Cusco, which, according to the Incas themselves, was already there when they arrived, about 400 years before Christ. The method of joining the large stones, some weighing more than 100 tons, is a technique of unparalleled mystery and wonder, yet to be fully understood. The stone of the 12 angles, with its 12 distinct faces, stands as a testament to the extraordinary artistry employed by the inhabitants of Cusco. This ancient technology, without using the wheel or metal tools, continues to elude our understanding.
En los libros de historia se dice,
in history books, it is said that Sci-Fi was finished in 1500, but no one seemed to know how and who built the original walls. Could it be that the Incas were not the original builders, as Spanish chroniclers, such as Garcilaso de la Vega, mistakenly believed? If the builders were even older, then it is less likely that earlier civilizations had the knowledge and ability to build such large structures. However, there are some theories about how the stones were formed. Ancient local legends mention a liquid derived from plants that could soften rocks. Explorers, such as legendary Hiram Bragum, who rediscovered Machu Picchu, brought back tales of the substance. In addition, Jorge Lira, a Catholic priest in 1883, said that he was able to recreate the softening of the stones, but could not find a way to make them hard again. Interestingly, some of the marks on the stones closely resemble that of modern-day concrete, indicating that it was molded or scraped into shape. This similarity raises intriguing questions about the methods and technology used by ancient civilizations in Peru, suggesting that they might have had more advanced construction techniques than previously believed.
But how did they manage such extremely precision-fitting workmanship with stones weighing as much as the Statue of Liberty without evidence of modern technology? The explanation often given is that the builders would chip a stone, see how it fit, lift it again, keep chipping and lifting, and so on. This process, forming blocks so complex and tightly fitted, using only stone hammers, wooden planks, and ropes, seems exceptionally unlikely. This is especially apparent when it comes to blocks that weigh over 100 tons. Renowned Swiss archaeologist Jean-Pierre Pronsin wrote in one of his books about the many problems builders confronted when transporting such heavy stones through mountainous terrain from quarries 25 miles away. The possibility that thousands of years ago, a megalithic society managed to finish Sacsayhuaman meant that the builders were much more advanced than we are currently giving them credit for.
Sacsayhuaman shows proof that an ancient culture could transport enormous stones for several miles and build polygonal, megalithic walls with limited resources, using a force of approximately 20,000 men. These enormous blocks, adorned with intriguing carvings, have long puzzled the world's scientific community. The precision of their placement, leaving no room for even a sliver of paper, remains a mystery that defies explanation. Sacsayhuaman, a monument to the Inca civilization's greatness, stands as one of its most magnificent temples, a beacon of achievement and innovation that endured until the Spanish conquest in the 16th century. Sacsayhuaman is known to have been the site of a fierce and bloody battle between the invading Spanish and the ruling Inca in 1536. Although the walls appear colossal today, they were initially even more imposing, as the Spanish used all but the heaviest stones to build new structures and churches. The purpose for which Sacsayhuaman was built is uncertain. The walls and original towers seem defensive in nature. The site also incorporates a large plaza surrounded by terraces, which may have been used for religious ceremony. The large workforce was sent in from different provinces using a unique communal work within the Inca Empire, a practice that constantly rotates laborers, providing the enormous energy needed to erect the buildings. If one worker got sick, another would replace them, and local villagers would be responsible for feeding them. Approximately 4,000 men quarried and cut stone. Another 6,000 held great cables the size of human legs made of leather and hemp. Thousands more dug ditches, laid foundations, and cut beams, and master masons stacked the stones in place. This communal work was a key aspect of the Inca social structure, where citizens contributed to the community's needs and projects of the king.
While the experts clearly state that one of the Inca kingdoms was responsible for constructing Sacsayhuaman, the exact year and the identity of the king remain a mystery, adding to the intrigue of this ancient wonder. The masterminds behind Sacsayhuaman's construction did not rely solely on stone hammers or ropes. Their use of advanced techniques to achieve the precision needed is evident. The way the rocks were molded, curved, and even bent suggests a level of knowledge and skill that still intrigues us in modern times. The question is, who provided the ancient builders thousands of years ago with the necessary technology to build the oldest fortress in the kingdom of the Incas? In the summer of 2009, Hector Ciliezar, a Salvadoran tourist accompanied by his family, captured a unique moment with his cell phone in the Mayan city of Chichen Itza. The photograph he took is no ordinary shot. It shows a ray of light emerging from the center of the Kukulkan pyramid. It is a ray of light that emerges from the pyramid's center and seems to project into deep space. The phone was able to record metadata that included date, time, resolution, and size of the image. It also recorded the photo's place with geographical coordinates, as well as the model and brand of the cell phone. This photograph has been the subject of extensive research and analysis, and complete foundations have been gathered to ensure it is not a doctored image.
In a world where pictures can be digitally altered with just a few clicks, or even generated entirely from scratch by artificial intelligence, it is becoming ever harder to trust what our eyes see. The techniques used to manipulate images are so sophisticated that we have entered the era of the hyper-realistic fake. Such images can lead to the spread of misinformation and could even influence public opinion such as this. Abnormal lighting is often a giveaway that a photograph has been altered. For example, the light source will usually be reflected in their eyes. If the size and color don't match the location, then you might have cause to be suspicious. However, 3 consistent details make me deduce that the photo was not manipulated, reinforcing its authenticity. The first is that it was shot as a sequence. The second is that it is shot using a very fast shutter. And the third is that the sequence comes within seconds, indicating a normal, family-friendly process. From a technical standpoint, when analyzing the programs as we usually do, it does not seem to me like a fake photo. The person who took it can say he took something out of this world.
Embedded within the digital image code, metadata serves as a reliable indicator of a photo's authenticity. Timestamps, for instance, are concrete evidence being recorded each time a digital camera captures an image. This metadata is securely stored within each image file. Every digital camera sensor leaves a kind of fingerprint on pictures. This fingerprint is then associated with the manufacturer and could help identify areas of a photograph that have been manipulated. In our case, the photograph of the pyramid we analyzed is a perfect example of this validation. The metadata is not just congruent, it is precise. The coordinates, 20 degrees north and 88 degrees west, align with the area of Chichen Itza in Yucatan, the Mayan complex where the pyramid of Kukulkan is located, with remarkable accuracy.
The Silieza family on vacation in Chichen Itza pointed out that Hector framed the pyramid of Kukulkan from the esplanade inside the ball court, having no idea what would happen next. With his cell phone in hand, he took 3 pyramid images. He then invited his daughters to pose, capturing 2 more photographs. 19 seconds later, he flipped the shutter again and captured a picture showing a pulse of light emanating from the top of the Mayan pyramid. This was a moment the entire family was part of, making them integral to this extraordinary discovery.
We traveled from El Salvador to Mexico for a vacation. I can still feel the heavy rain pelting down, accompanied by the crackling of severe lightning. We were drenched, but at that moment we were also capturing the beauty of the girls standing in front of the pyramid. Hector, our photography enthusiast, was patiently waiting for the perfect moment to capture the lightning behind the girls and the pyramid. After several attempts, we noticed something unusual in the digital photo. A strange light seemed to be emanating from the pyramid. I had no words for it. I was really surprised once Hector showed it to me. It was very strange. Where did this come from? Because we never saw an obvious light like that at any time from the top of the pyramid.
After I took the picture, I was overwhelmed with surprise and excitement. I wanted to show it to everyone around me. Spotting a group of Mayans nearby, engaged in prayer, I decided to wait until they finished and then show them the screen. When they saw the screen, they all agreed that the image was a representation of my heritage. The families and ancestry, in a moment of pure emotion, revealed themselves to me as a beam of light connecting Earth with the sky. This moment touched me deeply. I knew we had captured something truly extraordinary. It was a matter of being in the right place at the right time, and that's why I felt compelled to share it with the world.
Through meticulous analysis and testimonies, the experts concluded that the image was not manipulated or superimposed. This photograph is a testament and perhaps proof that pyramids are conductors of energy into outer space, providing a solid foundation for this extraordinary discovery.